What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Thursday. But we've got ourselves some Eagles news, so we're going to go over it. They have signed Kentavious Street, so we're going to talk about Kentavious Street. We're going to look at his bio, his stats. We'll talk about the updated Eagles defensive linemen. We'll see who all they have in the room. Talk about the free agency additions, losses, and then, of course, an updated look at the depth chart. That's right. For any of you who have missed it, we've got a depth chart here, and every time we're adding somebody, we are keeping track of that. So you will always have that updated depth chart looking at what we actually have here. I know there's a lot of concern about what we've lost, but we've added a lot of good pieces. We've retained a lot of good pieces. So we're going to talk about all of that. Appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. Now, I will be back later with a special guest, and the time has changed. It'll be 7 o'clock with my guy, Philly Mike. It was supposed to be 8, but I hope to see you then. Right here, right now, though, we're going to talk about this Kentavious Street move. So let's jump right into it. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them down below. But we added Kentavious Street. 4 years in the league. Now, technically, he's been in the league 5 years, but only 4 years of playing experience because he was out his rookie year with a knee injury. Now, he's out of North Carolina State. He was a 4th-round pick back in 2018. Played for the Niners for predominantly most of his career, and then this last year, he played with New Orleans. So we're going to take a look at what he did last year, and this is a depth piece here. This guy did not start a single game last year, but had 29 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, 9 quarterback pressures, no missed tackles, but no forced fumbles or recoveries, and 1 pass deflected there. So you see, he's a rotational piece. I know I've already seen it on the timeline here. You know, people losing their minds. This guy sucks. It's like, dude, you have to have depth pieces, and we've lost, obviously someone named Javon Hargrave. And look, we brought back Fletcher Cox. We now have Kentavious Street, but we've talked about those younger guys. So we'll take a look at that in a second. I'm really excited about the depth we still have on this defensive line. But, you're going to hear a lot of the slander. The Eagles have lost. They lost everybody. It's all over. They lost so many pieces. So you see this. Hey, I'll be real with you. Those are some important pieces that you lost, but none of them really surprised me all that much because we talked about probably losing most of those guys. So it is what it is. We move. So Howie Roseman has been busy in the lab. You see, retained Kelsey, Scott, and Toth on offense, but added Mariota and Penny. And now on the defensive side of the ball, you bring back Graham, Bradbury, and Cox. And now you've added Edmonds, Evans, Morrow, Street, and Greedy Williams to the defense. So look, we talked about it. We're going to be able to make these moves regardless of if people are confused about how, the salary cap works, the Hurts extension. We're actually going to save money. Go check that video out. We talked about all those things. We're going to continue to add depth throughout the offseason. We've got the draft coming up, but I don't know where the narrative comes that you only have a week to add people. So we add another guy, another depth piece, and we've got a few guys that are still out there. We've talked about it. Maybe halfway through the season, you got some injuries. You bring back someone like a Linville Joseph or Ndamukong Suh, but there was a reason they waited so long last year. These guys at the end of their careers and want to make sure they're in the right situation. And if I were them, I wouldn't want to play in the offseason either. So look, I don't think any of those guys come back, except maybe we talked about Robert Quinn, his familiarity with Sean Desai. Maybe you bring him back. But I really don't think, you have to. I like the depth we have here. So in a second here, we're going to take a look at this depth. But my man, Samuel, appreciate you tuning in, my dude. Hope you are doing well. And my man, Judah, appreciate all you guys taking the time. I'll be back later, have a special guest, Philly Mike, so hope you will all tune in then. But love to hear your thoughts on this move. Donnie, hope you're doing well. Luffy, appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. So, look, I was honored to be on his show last year, and I wanted to try to get him on. Things didn't work out at the end of the year there, but making sure in the offseason we made that happen. So appreciate you all taking the time and your continued support. Report Stout telling Howie to get him some more guys. We're always going to add linemen. That is always going to be true. That is the most important position. I've seen a lot of people confused that, we look at defensive and offensive linemen at all time, and that's just how it's always been. And, my man, appreciate you tuning in. Big Jim Cruz, let's go. In the building. I love to see it. All of you tuning in live, you're watching this later. You have any questions, comments, please feel free to chime in here. But let's take a look at this defensive line as a whole here. So you've got your defensive ends, you've got your Sam linebackers, you've got your interior guys, and we still have some free agents. We talked about Hargrave. We talked about those guys probably not coming back, but you see the depth. Look at the edge rushers here. You've got Barnett, Graham, Jackson, Leo, Robinson, Sweat. I've talked about it. Look, you add in the draft. I don't think you want to add anyone in free agency. I think you draft someone there. Get younger, like the pieces we have. Barnett staying healthy. Robinson, we'll see what he's got. So you've got competition there. On the other side, I like Johnson and Johnson behind Reddick. So excited there. And then interior-wise, we talked about Cox coming back. I think Jordan Davis and Milton Williams are really about to step it up, and Marlon Tuipulotu as well. So you're going to have guys like Wilson and Ellis here this summer competing, but now you add another depth piece here in Kentavious Street. So, hey, iron sharpens iron here. We're trying to get the best depth possible here, and I like the move. So let's take a look at what this looks like on the depth chart here, because that's just in alphabetical order. So anybody in green is new to the roster this season. They were not on the roster last year. So anybody in green you see is the new pieces. So you saw the pieces we've lost, but when you look at this defense, I think, interior-wise, adding Street, I didn't even put him in front of Tuipulotu, and I've talked about Milton Williams being the starter over Fletcher Cox, but, I want to see it proven this offseason, but I definitely think that's going to happen, and I think Cox, Street, and Tuipulotu become your depth pieces, and that's a very nice rotation there, and I think, when you're looking at it, someone like Kentavious Street, he's only had like 6.5 sacks his entire career. He's only started 4 games. So that he is a depth piece. But if someone is a depth piece that can still produce, that's great, man. He knows his role and he's going to come in and produce. And if called upon, he will be able to come in, step in, and do his things. But again, we've already got pieces there. And I feel pretty damn excited about what we've got. And, you look at the edge rushers. Again, I would add in the draft there. The linebackers, I would add in the draft there. You added Nicholas Morrow with Nakobe Dean. I like that. You draft somebody, I feel pretty good about that room. The secondary, we have the best cornerback trio in the game. You add Greedy Williams there. Love that. And then the safeties, you added Terrell Edmonds. I think, again, in the draft, you're going to want to add there. We've got 6 picks, but we've talked about the fact that, we've got 12 picks the next year. Then you've got 8 picks the next year. So you've got 26 picks in the next 3 years. You know how he's going to be wheeling and dealing, whether he wants to move up, move back. And I think he'll be moving back, acquire more picks, more talent, because we do have holes. And the Philadelphia Eagles are very well aware of that. I know a lot of people get carried away with, this is the roster. It has to be set right now. This is what we're going to play with week 1. And it's like, that is not close to what's going to happen. We're going to have 90 guys that are competing throughout the summer. We're going to have to decide after the final preseason game. 1 cut down now. If you guys saw those NFL rule changes, go check out that video. But that's one of the changes. 1 cut down. So all these guys competing. And I mean, you're looking at 37 dudes that are about to get cut. So a lot of these pieces aren't going to make the team. So a depth piece, iron sharpens iron. We're all about it in these parts. So a move I'm for, and it's not going to cost you shit. I mean, people get carried away. Like, oh, we got paid this. And it's like, dude, understand that the cap hits, every single person we have signed so far, if it wasn't a re-signing, the new players, all under $2 million cap hits. I don't see this guy being over $1.5 million, not even over $1.3 million. It's going to be very small, and you're just replacing that. So really, he goes maybe $250,000 against the cap if he makes the team. So yeah, dude, these kind of moves, these are the moves that championship teams make. I'm not saying this guy's the starter that makes you a champion. I'm saying you have to have depth, and Kentavious Street is one of those guys that can fulfill that depth piece. Adding all these defensive players make me think we go O-line. Well, they're going to go the best player available, and you guys heard me say that I think that we will go a certain offensive lineman with that first pick. But look, the Eagles, they're going to see who the best guy is, and maybe there's somebody that falls, and they're at 8. They want to trade up. Maybe they're at 10 and they're like, look, there's a few guys we'd like. We're going to move back to 12, acquire another 2nd round pick this year, next year, the 3rd round pick, whatever the hell it may be. But it's funny hearing the experts who always come out here and say the Eagles are going to do this with this. And it's like, bro, the draft is one of the hardest things to ever sit here and say what's going to happen. Now, I know for the last 4 years, I have been right with who I said we're going to draft, but that's literally there's no effing way that I get it right this year. 5 years in a row would be pure insanity because I've never seen anyone do it 2 years. So it's like, I really think that breaking it down to an exact science is impossible. What you have to do is understand what Howie likes to do, understand what the other teams are trying to do in front of you, and then just kind of take a crapshoot, because anything can happen. But you have to realize, what they're looking at, positional value, the future. And, when we talked about Jordan Davis last year, what was the, main point? Hargrave, Cox are going to be free agents. Are we going to be able to retain them? Who knows? But you got Milton Williams and Jordan Davis to step it up in case. So, those things you got to look at. So it's a good question, but I don't think adding a, defensive tackle 5 is going to affect how we draft. But we're going to continue to have our mindset of what we want to do and who our players are. And I think another good draft is coming our way. Appreciate you tuning in, though, my man. Hope you're doing well. Nina in the building also. Let's go. We got a party up in the house. Appreciate each and every one of you, but love to hear your thoughts on this. I know I see it on social media already. As soon as I got home, it's like, Jesus, people losing. This isn't Jamal Hargrave. And it's like, yes, this is a depth piece. God help us all. But, dude, yes, it's a nice depth signing. Exactly. So, like we've been saying, we're going to continue adding depth pieces, and people are going to continue to get carried away with, overreacting that, this isn't, and it's like, dude, God help us all. But look at this depth chart one last time and realize it's a depth piece signing. He is not a starter. It's not costing us much. You need to have depth. We're going to continue adding. This depth chart is going to grow. We're going to be adding all kinds of guys in the draft, all that stuff. We're going to keep up to date with all of it. So do not fear. I am here, and I will keep you up to date with all that stuff. And in case you missed it, here's the offensive depth chart, and, not much change in there. I've got Driscoll plugged in. I know a lot of people feel Cam Jurgens can just turn into a right guard. Look, we've got Stoutland there. I love that. But the fact of the matter is he's another undersized guy that don't know if that's necessarily the route they go. That's why I feel so strongly about getting an offensive lineman with one of those first picks, especially that 10th pick, dependent on, if Skoronski's there or a lot of the people we've talked about, Paris Johnson. There's a lot of options the Eagles could go with in that first round, but regardless, the only thing that really changes is that right guard and Miles Sanders. So we've got the talent. Rashad Penny, we've talked about what a stud he is if he stays healthy. Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott. See if Sermon can step it up. Excited to see what he's got. Loved to hear Sirianni say that as well now. So let's go. Then you see the special teams here. I would add return man in this draft. I can't stress that enough, but you've got some guys that are serviceable there for now. Britton Covey, I really liked him, and I thought that with some blocking, he would have done much better, but just wanted to show you those things in case you missed them. But that's all I've got for you right now, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back at 7 o'clock. I got to get rolling out here and then try to make it back in time, but my man had to move it up a little bit here, so moved it up. We're going to do it at 7, and Phillies, can't believe you let go of that lead. Could you just go ahead and win this game right before we do that video? But yes, the depth that we just talked about, indeed it is. And I like all the moves we've made so far, but Rashad Penny, I'm very excited about seeing. I want to really see what he can do in this offense. This offensive line, we all know, is the best, especially at running the ball. So I'm excited to see what he's got in this offense. Vila in the early second is a good choice. There's a lot of really good choices. So does this move that is easy for Eagles to go offense? No, a defensive tackle 5 is not going to affect how they draft. Be a good backup guard. Yeah, we could use a starting guard. We could use a lot of things, and that's what the Eagles are very well aware of. And they're going to go into this draft, and they're going to get some studs. And I can't wait putting together all of this content. And you guys know how I do it for those of you who tune in. We break it down position by position. I'm going to give you all of it, but I can't allow all these content creators to continue each year stealing all of the things I do. So we're going to bust it out, and I try not to give away everything I'm going to say because I got to make them work for it. So I'm going to be busting that out here pretty damn directly here next week. It starts. So dear God, help us all. But I go through each position. We talk about who the day 1 guys are, day 2, day 3, where I think the Eagles should be focused. We'll take a look at that position, what the Eagles have and why they should be focused where. So, yeah, it's a lot. But if you guys are obsessed with football like I am, you will definitely enjoy it. So that's all I've got for you right now. I'm going to be back 7 o'clock with my man, Philly Mike, and we're going to be breaking down this all season, the upcoming draft, all of these things that are on your mind. So please feel free to stop in, bring your questions, your comments, whatever the hell they may be. But we don't have a starting right guard. Yeah. So yeah, that's something we've been talking about here. And Driscoll and Opeta, look, and that is incorrect. Skoronski is a monster. Paris Johnson's a monster. There's a lot of really good guys that could come in and start at guard right away. But Jack Driscoll, Sua Opeta, I know a lot of people sleep on them, but Sua Opeta was on the practice squad for a reason. He is a depth piece. And Jack Driscoll, I have him plugged in as a starter because he can fill in as a starter. But you like to have him as that swing tackle that can provide depth all over the board, and all about it, man. So let's go. But appreciate each and every one of you taking the time. Would love to hear your thoughts down below. If you got anything from this video, do me a favor, hit that like button. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. Hope you're all having yourselves a great Thursday. Hope to see you at 7 o'clock live with my man, Philly Mike. But until then, you all have yourselves a great rest of your day. Stay safe. And as always, go Birds!